Today's a really special day for me. 1 year ago today, September 29th, 2016, I released my first ever album as a director. It was a collaborative cover album of Nintendo 64 tunes, and we called it Get N. This album did not really do that well, in terms of like people getting, noticing it and doing stuff with it, but it means a hell of a lot to me, and I'm still so happy that I was able to get it out there, and I met so many friends who I'm still talking to, like, even a year later, still some of my best friends, still some of my favorite collaborators. So for today, because I have not done a Ritz box video in like a month, I just want to talk about it a little bit, like give more insight into the story of the thing, and maybe do like a track by track breakdown, because that album a day thing I was doing when I started the vlog fell off a little bit, so I want to get back into it by listening to the album in full. So I guess let's talk about how the album came to be. The project's about as old as my YouTube channel. It's my main YouTube channel where I do music. I released my Piranha Plants Lullaby, the first two covers of that song, in February of 2015. And that was for a side project that Can of Nothing and Teodoro Dumatake and I were all doing. We were trying to get on the sound team for that Super Mario 64 HD remake that was going around at the time. There was a lot of discussion in that whole group about what the music direction was going to be, and we just decided to try and remake the entire soundtrack as if, if Koji Kondo was assigned with remaking the whole soundtrack, doing a separate rendition of a theme for every level, what would he do? And we did that for a while. We bounced around a bunch of ideas, collaborators we could work with, and we were, considering releasing an album just of the Mario 64 stuff. But eventually it was like the hype kind of started to die down a little bit, and then we just kind of put it off to the wayside for a while, and those songs that we did, or even just started, were just sitting there for a while, and we had no idea what to do with them. So fast forward somewhere like spring, maybe late winter of 2016. I was like in a Skype call with Can of Nothing, and we, we're throwing around ideas about the project, because I'm always against, putting songs to waste. If I, make a thing, I want it to really be heard by people and be available in a format that is easily accessible by everybody. So we were just thinking, okay, how do we get this out there? How do we make it available for more people? So upon doing a little bit of Google searching, having learned about the concept of like tentpole marketing from my friends at the Materia Collective, we learned that year, 2016, was the Nintendo 64's 20th anniversary. So by that point, all bets were off. We decided, okay, we're getting as many of these songs together as we can, maybe we're making some new ones, and we are putting them all together by September, releasing them as an album on iTunes and Google Play and everything. So when the time came to start making songs, I contacted people who could perform on them, because I'm all for live performance. So I contacted Tyler and Jazz, as he was known then, and Eric L. And they decided to say, hey, we'll play on your song, and also they asked if they could arrange stuff. And they arranged stuff that was outside of the Mario spectrum, which really helped to kind of bring more variety to the album and make it a Nintendo 64 tribute like I was hoping for. Eric did Zelda, Tyler did Donkey Kong Conquer, and it was just a really nice little album package. We got a guest track from Joshua Typely and a few more guest performances outside of Eric and Tyler. And then it came together just on time. I remember coordinating album mixes and stuff, going back and forth while I was in Aruba for vacation. So it was really fun to just get that whole experience of being an album director and kind of coordinating things with people. It's hard to find the best way to talk about this album because every track has a lot of meaning, so I think that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through every track and talk a little bit about it. So kicking off the album, we have Bob-omb Battlefield, which is Can of Nothing's rendition of the main theme of Super Mario 64, and come on, considering the fact that this started as a Mario 64 tribute, there was no way we couldn't have that as the opener. It most encapsulates what the original goal of the project was, which was to do it as Kondo would. So it's pretty, similar to the original, at least in terms of the arrangement and whatnot. Can went through meticulously with a fine-tooth comb and got everything to line up like in terms of the quantization of it exactly as it was in the original, because the original isn't quite straight, it's like a little bit off. And this was one of the tracks that was really cool to kind of see take shape over time, because I was in Aruba when Can started work on the redo of this track, which included adding the organ solo, adding an ending, and doing a little stuff with mixing the drums. So it was really cool to look back on that original from like 2015, whenever it was, and then hear it, you know, get a bit of new life into it. It was already an amazing track, but Can really took it and made it like a zinger of an album opener. You hear this and it's like, we're in, we know exactly what we're gonna get, and it's great. There was no track I'd rather have to kick the thing off. The second track was Tyler's rendition of Windy and Company from Conker's Bad Fur Day. And for this one we're outside because it makes sense, you know, we got a nice little breeze going, it's good. And I also have pizza. This is one of the more last minute additions to the album, just because the arrangement was already set up. Tyler had done like an 8-minute medley of all the Windy related themes in Conker. So when it came time to make the album, he suggested just condensing it into like a 3-minute little package. I think it's wrapped up really nicely. You kind of get to see the progression. You start in the main Windy and Company, you end with like the bees with the kazoos, and it's just, you know, a nice flow to it, and it's just really good. I guess you kind of talk about like how I organized the album, because, you know, everyone got me their tracks, but I was in charge of deciding what the album order would be. So if I had to represent the flow of the album by like a shape, it would be like start up here, a little bit down here, and then spike right back up for the end. Like a martini cup. And I placed all the energetic stuff at the start, and then smushed kind of the more introspective songs, and I'll get to those later, right in the middle of that. I think it worked well enough for what I needed to do. Track number 3, we got Mario Raceway from Mario Kart 64 by Can featuring Tyler. This was another one that we did in that initial run of Super Mario 64 covers, because there was also a Mario Kart 64 HD remake that we were kind of deciding to go in for, but that didn't end up going through. So we put those tracks in with the rest of the album. And in my honest opinion, this was a track that really benefited a hell of a lot from the boost we gave it. Ken was always saying to go back into it and boost the drums, and the result, oh my god. The original was like a nice, you know, loungy, not really loungy, but like, you know, kind of laid back. But the new one, it like gets your blood pumping. It's so great. Mix all that with a nice little trumpet solo from Tyler, and I got to see that conversation go on, you know, while I was in Aruba, which was really cool. And you have a really nice, you know, blood pumping track that brings you perfectly into the next section of the album. It's good. The first track of the next section of the album was Piranha Plant's Lullaby from Mario 64, which is not my original rendition from the, I'm going to call it Mario 2015, because that's what we called it, not from that project, but rather a guest track from my dear friend Joshua Typoli. He did this tune as like a one-off kind of thing when he didn't have a video ready for 1 week, but I just loved it so much when he did it. I was like, hey, can we please use this? This is so good. And thankfully he gave us his blessing, and it wonderfully sets up the tone for like the next section of the album. Wonderful chord choices, and the mixing and the mastering, I should say, that Tud did on it was amazing. The original had a lot of noise. It was just like a solo jazz guitar recording, so he slapped on a really nice noise gate that got rid of a lot of the clutter and just really, it's so good. That's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the whole record. Eric was originally going to do Jungle Japes from Donkey Kong 64 for his track, but after like a little accident where somehow, we still don't know exactly how, he lost that project file, he got an idea for what would become the next track on the album, Kakariko Village from Zelda Ocarina of Time. It was a really cool prog jazz arrangement of this tune. It had a lot of the 1-6-3-7 progression going on, which is like, if you've seen any kind of epic movie and you have the theme for that, it's basically that progression. But he did it in a really unique and interesting way, and I did not picture, you know, the song going like that, which is really cool of him to do, and it's something he's still managing to do for me, you know, a year later. I guess I should talk about the mastering problems, which was another story kind of relating to this song. So I submitted the masters for Get On on time. Everything was going great. You know, I got the report that, you know, the album was live. I was like, woo! However, as we were preparing the album stream video, I realized I didn't really listen to the final masters that, you know, I ended up, because I ended up editing some of them because there was a little too much silence in the front of it, and I wanted to, you know, minimize that as much as I possibly could. I come to find out that those masters I edited, there was just 2 of them, thank goodness, were like clipping like mad. They were sounding, you know, boosted in ways they shouldn't be boosted, and it just came out, you know, really bad. And this was unfortunately one of the songs that was affected, as well as the next one, which I'll get to in a few. Moral of the story, kids, listen to your album masters before you submit them. Don't be like me. I'm going right by the pool for this next one, because track number 6 is Dire Dire Docks from Mario 64, arranged by Can of Nothing. I love this track. It kind of takes the best elements from like the multiple sections of the original Dire Dire Docks theme, you know, where it was just, you know, electric piano, where you had the strings come in, where you had the come in. It was a really nice synthesis of the entire thing, and it threw in, you know, some of its own curveballs. There was this guitar solo which I had to work on for a really long time, because there was originally like a really cool, I think it was Zelda's Lullaby, or maybe, you know, the opposite of that, Ballad of the Goddess. There was some reference in there, and if we wanted to clear it, you know, it would have been difficult. And me wanting to be careful, you know, with how we release the thing. We're already covering Nintendo music, which is generally a no-no with, you know, this kind of thing. We had to change it a little bit till we got something that was kind of reference-free, and that sucked. I hated to do that. But it was the new solo was still really good, and it didn't detract, in my opinion, from the piece. It was still a really wonderful arrangement, and it kind of, by the end, you know, got the energy back up from where it was and stuff like Piranha Plant and Kakariko, to segue right into the final, more energetic section of the album. Back inside now with another slice of pizza, because of course I am. Next up we have Whomp's Fortress, which is another rendition of the Super Mario 64 main theme, arranged by Charles Ritz. That's him! With the help of Eric L. on trombone, Tyler Jenkins on trumpet, and Lauren the Flute on flute. Some can wonder, why do we have another rendition of the Mario 64 main theme? You know, the album already opened with it, we don't need another. But in my opinion, the reason I kept this arrangement, aside from being, you know, happy where it was going in its original form, because it was for Mario 2015, it showed another goal of the original project, which was for every level that uses the same theme, like Bob-omb Battlefield and Whomp's Fortress, Jolly Roger, Bay, or Lagoon, or whatever the hell, and Dire Dire Docks, we wanted to have separate renditions of that theme that brought out a different element of that level. So Whomp's Fortress and Bob-omb Battlefield being on the same album are kind of the representation of that concept. And let me just say, I am so happy that I got to finish this arrangement and really, you know, make it different from what it originally was, because being made for a game means it has to be made with the intent, more often than not, of looping, which I'm more than fine with, but having it for an album instead allowed me to, you know, have solos and stuff that wouldn't just repeat over and over again, wouldn't fade out or anything. It would just be, you know, a jammin' tune. And that's what I think we managed to achieve. It was a lot of fun, you know, having a bunch of solos on this tune, the key change in like the middle of it, and those random bars I love to throw in of like weird, you know, time signatures, like I'll have 4/4 for the entire song, and then randomly a measure of 6/4 because I want a little more time, but you're recording with a click, so you can't just put a fermata because no one knows how long the fermata is actually for. And I'm still really friggin' proud of the Seasons of Love quote. This is definitely one of my favorite arrangements I've ever done. And I think, you know, Can of Nothing is partially responsible for getting the ball rolling. Did a demo in a Sonar Cakewalk, which gave me a basis of what to go off of when, you know, arranging the rest of the tune on my own. But it was a lot of fun to really take that original demo and friggin' run with it. Up against the conga for this one, because the next track up is a Latin rendition of Bats from Conker's Bad Fur Day by Tyler and Jazz featuring me. So fun story, I actually heard the original Bats from Conker's Bad Fur Day long after the album came out. And when I did, I just realized, whoa, he had a lot of fun with this song. He like, you know, it was still recognizable if you listen to it as Bats, but at the same time it was, you know, it was really different in a really unique way. And stuff like that is exactly why I brought Tyler on the album and I let him arrange, because I'd seen his stuff be really, you know, unique, and it's like stuff I've never seen before, at least in terms of like thinking about how you can arrange a song. Can kid's a really great arranger, and I was like honored to be asked to perform on that track, even though looking back, my performance really wasn't that great. We'll do that at some point. And he also like took over the album. He's on like half of the 10 songs that the album had. It's crazy. The kid's eager to work, especially with something like this. When it was a year ago and he was just getting in the scene, yeah, I could really feel that excitement coming from him, and it was really, you know, a thrill to be around. Track 9 was a treat made just for you, 'cause it tells y'all about the DK crew. Tyler said it and arranged it in the course of a night, and we lent our verses to fill you with delight. Got done up for the camera, put your boy in a hat, while the flow staying funky and the beat staying fat. Last but certainly not least, we have Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 64, arranged by ya boy, with additional arranging and mixing by Teodoro Dumatake, who also mastered the rest of the album, and a guitar solo by Josh Typley. This was another track that originally started work like right as all the Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64 stuff was originally going on, but I never finished, just kind of kept stuck in this one state. And I came up with a bunch of really cool like modulation, the key change. There's like a stop chord section that brought us to a new key. It was like, it's still one of my favorite like arrangements in terms of like what's harmonically going on under there. But I knew I wanted to make the video really great, so I took two methods that friends like AH Music or Shoddy B have used of colorizing the video. The way I did so was a bit crude, like a lot of my setup, but it got the job done and it looked pretty good. So right now the ceiling lights are off and I'm being shined on by one of my 2 IKEA lamps. Give me a little extra light when I need it. And these are a bunch of colored dividers that I usually use for my schoolwork. I separate them in like the binder that I use that I bring around with me every day. So all you have to do is put one of these over the light and you get a different color for every one. And I just had a bunch of these that I like cut up and just taped to the light so that I could get all these different color effects that could let me make a pretty friggin' cool video. Actually, funny story with this one. I actually inadvertently deleted this video after it had been up on YouTube, because I hit delete instead of remove, so let me move on my part, but that was a whole morning of, it was going to be like preparing for some test that I had at school, but it turned into just re-upload everything, get all the description info right, do it all over again. So that was a nightmare and a half, but I got done in the video. I'm still happy with how it turned out, so yeah. So yeah, that's basically the album in a nutshell. I still can't begin to say enough how happy I am with how it came out and how grateful I am for everybody taking a part in it, and how happy I am that the camaraderie is still there even a year later. I'm still talking to these guys every day. And such a wonderful group of guys. I'm so happy I was able to meet them through this project and start getting so many more projects and collaborations rolling through that. Thank you to Can of Nothing for always inspiring me and approaching me in the first place about taking this on. Tud, Teodoro for making my electronic crap not sound like crap. And of course for mastering the entire album and doing a kick-ass job. Eric and Tyler for helping our asses get in gear and actually make a friggin' album and bring so much diversity and charm to it. Thank you to Lauren, to Josh, to Daniel for really making this project even more special, for putting all of your heart into it. That means the world to me and to all of us. And of course to Miguel from Don Corgi, whose beautiful artwork I have somehow not mentioned this entire time, but he absolutely killed it, and on such short notice too. He did a phenomenal job. I still look at it and I get giddy inside, you know? So much love to him, much love to everyone involved with the album, and of course to you, because I know this vlog is going to be a very long vlog, so if you've somehow watched the whole way through, or even not, and you just checked out the album, thank you. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for not only me, but for everyone involved with that album, everyone who I know has such a drive for what they do. I'm gonna slap all the album thingies down below so you can stream it or buy it if you want to, but I even can't begin to thank you enough just for the support. It means, trust me, it means the world. all that said, thank you so much for watching. The next vlog is probably going to be a compilation of all the time I didn't vlog over the past September. So tune in next time for that if you want. Thank you for making Get N really special. Take care.